Today's video is all about digital marketing consulting and how to raise your price as a strategic consultant. I'm going to explain how I went from $250 per client to $5,000 and what are the key actions I took and what are the key elements of my consulting that make it more valuable. This is a very important video. Stay tuned. As we approach 2021, many people are thinking about becoming consultants. You know, it's not surprising. It's a remote job in 2021. You can do all your consulting online via, say, Zoom or all these other types of apps where you can remote communicate. It's a high income skill. You can technically make a lot of money per hour if you want to look at it like that. Consultants don't really work per hour, but it's definitely a more high income skill. It's if you're a consultant in anything, you're kind of an expert, and it's no different in digital marketing consulting. I'd say digital marketing consulting is quite illustrious right now. I think a lot of people want to do it, but they don't know how. I think that it's a fascinating job. I think it's a fast-paced job, a challenging job. It keeps you on your toes. There's always something new happening. So I definitely think a lot of people are going to be after this. So it's important we put out this information. It's very modern. It's very future-proof. It's something to take with you no matter what else you do. I've been recommending a lot of people to, whatever it is their main thing is, just add digital marketing consulting with respect to whatever else you're doing. So let's say, you're in the business of baking goods. A lot of people have small bakeries, right? Well, what if you became a digital marketing consultant for bakeries or for food-oriented companies and you just shared your expertise from all of your learnings? I mean, I'm kind of doing that, right? I have worked a lot with coaches, online teachers, solopreneurs and such. So I can definitely understand why people want to do this. And I think that it's something that, you should really consider yourself as a potential secondary skill or a means of more income. So in the rest of this video, I'm going to explain what I was doing when I was charging like $250 versus what I do today where I charge $5,000 for very similar concepts. Now, the concepts might be the same, but the work is definitely a lot different. So this is not really a long explanation. I just want to show you the difference. When I first got started in digital marketing consulting, I was kind of a web developer. I was doing SEO related articles. I understood traffic and conversions. I was starting to buy traffic. I was getting pretty deep into the game. I definitely knew I was ahead of others. And that's the thing. A consultant is just one or two steps ahead. You don't need to be miles ahead. You just have to know that you're a couple steps ahead of your client and that you can bring them along with you. So when I started out, I was actually just like asking people if they wanted my free advice. That's the very beginning of it. Like, would you like to have a discussion about digital marketing with me? I mean, when you're first starting out, how can you just ask someone to pay to talk to you? You can't really, right? You don't have any reason to do that. So when you want to start charging for the first time, if it's less than a few $100s, what I would recommend is just a conversation where you are trying to assess the situation and give some advice, and they're going to walk away, and that's it. Maybe you have an email follow-up. Maybe you check in with them in 30 days, but what they're really doing is purely buying your time. And this is what I was doing at the beginning. I would have a coffee with someone, and I would charge them around 150 to 250 Canadian dollars for, 30 to 45 to 60 minutes. I wasn't a stickler. I didn't care, but I wanted to be paid for the knowledge I would be transferring. But very rarely was I ever on my computer, or very rarely was I like delivering things. This was more like people knew that I was an authority and an expert, or at least ahead of them, and they were ready to pay for a consult. Now, at that time, I wasn't very good at selling. I just kind of made it a thing that if you wanted to have a talk with me, that's what it was. But I quickly realized like that wasn't going to work that well. And I always thought of it as sort of this first step into all of the other work. But setting your consulting fee so low, you're only attracting a very low part of the market, right? No one's going to think that that's that valuable. You see, there is a very strong correlation between price and value. The people who spend more money, they think it's worth more, and it often is. They're not wrong. So when you charge so little, you're actually signaling to people that it's not that valuable. And, I've been saying it a lot lately, and it's a tough realization, but, people who have, who make like, let's say $3,000 to $5,000 a month, in the $60,000 range, which is kind of mid, a little bit higher than average, let's say 48 to 60,000. Those people, they don't have enough to pay for high-end consulting. Like $5,000 is an extreme amount of money for them. It's 1/12 of their yearly's effort. It's not reasonable. They can't afford that. And it's like you attract everyone, but you only attract those kind of people when you charge $250. But what I realized is like once you start making $20,000 a month, 5,000 starts looking like a really smart investment if you can turn it into 6,000 or 10,000. The reason people don't have the 5,000 when they only make 60 is they don't believe it's going to work and they believe they're going to get hurt. But they don't realize what the potential could come from a proper consultation from an expert. Whereas someone making, say, 150 a year, 200 a year, 20K a month, 30K a month, they're going to see 5K as like, okay, this must be pretty good. And I think this could really change my life. Like when you make 150, you're thinking about 300. It's a very different mindset, when you're in a salary, you can't dream of bigger numbers. When you're a consultant, when you're a digital marketer, like I said, there's no income ceiling. You can charge whatever you want and you can do whatever you want. You're not constrained by any means. You can take more projects. So what happens here is the realization that $5,000 is not a lot to people who are very serious about their business. And that's just a fact. I got to break that down for you. That's what I've begun to realize this year. Like I was so hard pressed to ask for $5,000 before, but the last few times I've done it, everyone said yes, which is even surprising to me that at lower numbers, people have said no to me. Actually, it's so crazy. I haven't even thought much about it, but to think that, I was charging maybe 800 or 600. And that's the thing though. When I got better, you actually kind of learn not only how to improve your consulting work, but how to present it better. And it's kind of like this thing that happens together. So don't worry about it. I think you should start at the low end and work your way up. But you're going to have an epiphany one day. And for me, it was like, I charged 2,500, then I charged 5,000 and then 5,000 again. And I was confident that that's like, oh, this is a tremendous price point. Excellent. So what is really involved in the $5,000 package versus the $250 coffee sit down? Well, anything above $2,000 is going to be a formal process. You are a professional now. You are a B2B service provider. You actually need to onboard your clients. You need to maybe have a contract. As far as the work goes, you need to do a digital discovery for this person. You have to sit down for at least 60 to 90 minutes and go through tons of questions and find out every single thing you need about their brand and their goals. Because their goals are going to set the tone, right? When you have that $250 coffee, you might not even be talking about goals. They just might be picking your brain about websites or Facebook ads or a little bit there. But if someone wants a $5,000 consultation, it's a formalized process where they're going to get something quite impactful. So you start with a digital discovery, okay? You can call it deep dive, you can call it strategic inquiry, digital discovery, whatever you want. It's a question asking time for you and your client. And it's not that, it's very passive for you. You're just asking questions. They're doing all the talking. Once you have that information, now you can go away and start looking at the environment, the market, and the opportunities that this client may have. So we would call this SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Can you go through all four of those? Look at what the client is situated. Strengths: what are their big strengths? Do they have a big social following already? Do they have a great product already? Do they have a beautiful website? Weaknesses: lack of online presence, leaky funnel, no traffic. Opportunities: TikTok, Instagram Reels, Pinterest ads, Brave browser, all these new opportunities to advertise potentially into new markets. Threats: who are the competitors? What are they doing? What's happening to the marketplace? How are your SEO rankings faring in the long run? Okay, so SWOT, it's kind of, you see a lot of the same situations. And as a digital marketing consultant, like you don't want to see 50 different things. You're like, problem A, problem B, problem C. I know all of these problems. I've seen them before. Perfect. Let's address these problems with the classic elements that we do, right? So lack of social presence, work on building the online presence, right? Leaky funnel, audit the funnel and develop the parts that are needed, right? So first we do digital discovery, then we go into research for our SWOT analysis. I like to complete a 12-point funnel audit. I look for 12 things. I can't list them all right now, but essentially it's like, do they have their own domain name? Do they have their hosting? Or do they have SSL? Do they have a shopping cart? Are they using SEO? Good copywriting? Are they mobile responsive? Do they have an email list? Do they have a lead magnet? Are they running a back-end upsell? Are they using Google Analytics and tracking everything? Those kind of things. I mean, you can go back and look at those, but I've talked about those many different times on my channel and in different forms. So, the audit just gives you a sense of, listen, I know what works. I made a list of what works, and you don't have what's on my list. I think you should have what's on my list. I mean, let's say you had $1 million or even 100,000. What would you do for your business? What elements would you have? Why don't you recommend that to everyone else and have a list and be honest about what they cost? Like, you don't have to do everything tomorrow. But if there's a belief that a lead magnet is needed and an ebook, or there is an automated sales funnel or email system, tell them what it costs. Tell them the options. Tell them the pros and cons. Okay. So this is a very important element, is simply auditing a client against your best practices. Now, when I was charging $250, I didn't know the best practices all. I didn't know them all. It was only after maybe a couple years of experience where I'm like, these are the key elements and nothing else. We don't need anything else. If we can do these, which takes some time and money and resources, we'll be fine. We just need to do these. So you develop that, right? You have to develop your own school of thought as a marketer. Like, maybe you don't agree with me that you should use an exit pop-up. I believe you should. I believe if a user is leaving a website, you've lost them for good, you might as well go with a pop-up. I don't believe in instant pop-ups. I like exit pop-ups with a surprising offer. Anyways, once you do your audit, you put everything you find in a report. I just put them in a Canva PDF. Like, it's not a detailed PDF. It's like slide by slide, because after that, you're going to present all that information to your client on a Zoom call and impress them. You're going to deliver on that $5,000 by being a professional, showing up, and have a well-designed presentation. It doesn't have to be extreme. It just has to be clean. Don't overdo it. Don't put too much. Add some images. Add some, options of where to go with the roadmap. Add in a timeline. There's so many different things you can discuss in that presentation. And that's when you're like, oh, it doesn't matter who I'm working for. I kind of got to do the same thing. I got to do my research. I got to ask the client questions, got to audit and report and present. And then you're like, well, that's why I shouldn't be doing this for $2,000, because if it's the same work, I need to get the max amount for it. And so it's like, I better start charging the max, and I better start looking for the people who can afford the max. Now, as a consultant, a general rule of thumb is you want to charge where you can give them like 10x value. So my thesis is here, if I'm going to charge $5,000 for a consultation, it should bring the client over $50,000 of value across the year. And if that's the case, that client, if they were making $500,000, they would only need a 10% increase in their sales to see that. And I think when you start making up to $1 million and you don't realize how many companies actually do, there's a lot of them, and they've been using newspapers, radio ads, billboards, which are all dead, and these people are all going to need digital marketers. You realize like these clients are where you want to go. That one lead could make them $1 million. I mean, this is more into the B2B. This is more into enterprise. This is more into lawyers, doctors, accountants, firms, but that's where a lot of the money is. And we can't deny what that is. And it's not my choice. It's just what the reality shows. And it's, the highest paying clients in my world have been doctors and lawyers and accountants and extreme professionals. They are the ones who understand sort of business at a higher level. And I think that that's one of the tricky things is so many people, I saw an influencer ask on their Twitter how many people want to start a business, and 90% of people either already did or want to in the next year. 90%. Like only 8% people said, I don't want to start a business. So it's on everyone's mind. But the problem is that 50% of these people have no training whatsoever in the business world. And a lot of people are going to be getting into business in the next few years and already are with very little experience and very little control over their entrepreneurial behaviors. I see a lot of flaws. I see a lot of mindset issues with some of the entrepreneurs out there that are sort of at that newer level. It takes a big shift, and you've got to be careful which sort of people you are focusing your services on. I mean, it's a grind. You got to start from the bottom, but you do want to think, as I've showed to you today, get your service into a professional level as soon as possible and move into the higher set of clients so you can feed your family. Now, I always balance my high paid clients with pro bono work. It's really nice that way. Charge $5,000 and up, charge $100,000 a year for your clients, your best clients, and then charge nothing to your local businesses, to your local entrepreneurs who have no money, who are doing good in the world, but need support. Like, that is the way to go, guys, because those people cannot afford you. So you should just give your services away. And you should try and help your community wherever you can by making your community members better businesses. I think that's the right idea. So I want you to walk away with a nice clean list, okay, of the things you might do in digital marketing consulting. I'm going to give you 9 steps, okay? And this is from my online course, Digital Marketing Consulting Essentials. You can check it out at richandniche.com/consulting. It's a complete course on how to do everything I've told you here today. But the 9 steps I want you to walk away with, and I'm going to explain them all in brief, okay? And then we're going to end this video. Step 1. You need to qualify. I just spent, a good 10 minutes explaining the dangers and differences between client types. You need to know what's the minimum revenue a client needs to work with you. And think about it. If they make $100,000 a year, you think they're going to put more than $5,000 to marketing? So that's only what, $400 a month? So $100,000 a year is too small of a business to hire a marketer. You really want to ensure these companies are doing at least $400,000 to $500,000. It's much more ideal if you want to be paid well. Otherwise, use this client as a stepping stone. So qualification, it's a very important part. You can do it with an online form. You can do it with a light discovery call. You can do it through email, but you got to kind of sense, is this client actually worth the time pursuing and talking? And if so, great. Give them a presentation, pitch them, talk to them, whatever. Next step, contract. This is the second official step in my process. To move forward, you have to sign a contract and you have to pay. All payments for me are almost all up front. Significant portions are up front. I believe marketers should be paid up front. Just the way I believe it. I believe we're too professional, too high end to take any risk. If the client doesn't pay, there's no work. Phase 3, step 3, it's strategy. It's everything to do with planning the rest of the year and the approach you're going to take, the priorities you're going to set, and the goals and milestones that you think are useful, okay? Once you finish strategic planning, you need to put that in some sort of document set. Say, hey, there's our strategy right here, summarized, and it's done, okay? You evaluate it next year maybe. Number 4, auditing, right? After you have a strategy, you can audit against that. Are you doing a good job towards that? Are you in alignment with your strategy? Auditing simply means checks and balances. Is this what we said we were going to do? Are we in good shape? Do we have the elements we need? Step 5 is to design and plan out all those pieces that you want to develop that did not meet the audit needs. Maybe it's a new landing page. Maybe it's an email system. Maybe it's a lead magnet. Maybe it's an offer. Maybe it's an online course. Okay, and now going in developing all that. Design, then develop. Design the experience, plan the funnel, think about the customer journey, then go develop it piece by piece. This is the longest phase to develop, okay? Now into step 7, once you've developed everything, now you start looking to execute your growth plan. Are you using advertising? Are you going to be blogging? Are you going to be using social media, influencer marketing, shout outs? Are you going to go on podcasts? Are you going to post in forums? How are you going to grow the awareness of your business? How are you going to get new people to learn about this business? Number 8 is data-driven decision-making. Now that you're kind of moving and you're collecting data and you have people coming to your site, you need to put data across everything and start evaluating what is working and what is not. Do more of what is working and either cut what's not working, shift what's not working, transform it, but really focusing on what is working. And then a ninth sort of final stage is just maintenance, right? Maybe you've taken this client as far as they want to go and they just want to go on a maintenance package. Maintenance is very light. You don't really do a lot. You're being paid if you do this to sort of keep an eye on things, to make sure things don't fall apart. Every month or every quarter, you come to a little bit of a review, make sure things are cleaned up, right? So like if you have an accountant, they'll just maintain your books. They'll email you every month, be like, hey, I saw this and that, looks good. Keep on going. Have a great month. It's not exactly intensive, but it's an important part of this whole system. So once again, in summary, the 9 steps that I want you to walk away with as a digital marketing consultant: qualification, contract, strategy, audit, design, development, growth, data, maintenance. Okay, I hope that gives you guys more confidence in consulting. That's going to do it for this video. Give it a like, subscribe if you want more digital marketing consulting info. And like I said, I have an entire course on this. Rich+Niche.com/consulting. You can visit my site and look at all the other courses as well. This is a really game-changing course. I don't think very many people have been able to summarize consulting, let alone digital marketing consulting, as well as I have. I'm still very stoked about this. And the course I give is so very powerful as well. We also give you a means to build like a free CRM through Airtable, save a lot of money and stay really organized. And the entire system is very automated. It's a very surprise. You got to go onto the page to see it. But I'm still impressed with that course. People have been saying it's a magical course. A lot of people get clients right off the bat. People have a lot more confidence speaking to clients. People have a lot more confidence in just the overall management of clients because there's so many elements to it, right? And you want to have a good streamlined process that brings you value to your business. That gives you more money for your time. And that's something everyone should work towards. But, so many people ask me how to be a consultant after my last video. I had to put that in a course and just make it simple. That's part of being a digital marketer, is answering one question once and letting, hundreds of people watch it or view it in some other form. That's how you scale your time in the modern digital landscape. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and may the algorithms be ever in your favor. It's Rich UX, founder of Rich+Niche and full stack digital marketer. I believe digital marketing consulting is the imminent wave you've been waiting for. It's time to start swimming and positioning yourself in the market as a digital marketing consultant. You have to stop chasing what's passed you by and recognize the tsunami that is coming. Now is the time to take action on the career of your dreams, live and work remotely, help your clients build their businesses online.